Across California, and really the American West, we face major challenges. Climate change is accelerating, catastrophic wildfires becoming a bigger threat, we're experiencing more heat waves. All of that puts our communities under threat, but also our nature in crisis. So there's a lot we have to do to protect nature and help restore nature. One of the challenges we have, though, is it's been excessively slow to get these improvements on the ground. Despite the fact that this is environmental restoration, sometimes up to a third of a project's budget will be spent on environmental permitting and planning.
Previously, when we were doing stream restoration, we were limited to small habitat restoration permitting pathways, which meant we could only do projects that were less than 5 acres and treated less than 500 linear feet of stream. That is not very much. And if we want to restore an entire watershed, if we're going to do it 500 feet at a time, it's going to take more than my lifetime.
Sustainable Conservation was perhaps the first organization to say, there's something wrong here. We can deliver environmental improvements more quickly, affordably, and ultimately effectively than we are today. And what that requires is regulatory reform.
Development, permitting, and environmental review processes are just not a good fit for restoration. They're different kinds of projects with different goals. It's been a process that's been going on for many years. Really, it's just been within the past 3 to 5 years that the agencies have gotten the tools in terms of new permitting pathways that have changed, I think vastly changed kind of the landscape of restoration permitting.
Sustainable conservation has recognized for at least the last couple of decades that permitting, while it's very necessary to protect our natural resources, that it can take a very long time to get important projects done, including habitat restoration. And so sustainable conservation started working on local permitting programs that enabled permitting efficiencies, consolidated permitting, development of programmatic permits.
Programmatic permit is, instead of issuing permits on a project-by-project, case-by-case basis, we develop, with the help of sustainable conservation, larger programmatic kind of umbrella permits that can provide coverage for a suite of project types or actions.
A lot of people may say, hey, how come the agencies weren't just doing this themselves? And one of the reasons is because the resources are very slim at the agencies. They have so much work on their table, and it takes some upfront work to develop these very specialized permitting tools. And so that's where sustainable conservation has been able to step in.
When they came to me along with other partners and made this case, I quickly joined the movement, and we call it cutting the green tape, reducing bureaucracy to get good environmental things done. We've been able to move mountains. It is now much faster and more affordable to get these environmental improvements on the ground.
We've crunched the numbers. It's millions of dollars saved. It's a ton of time. We're getting permits out faster. Getting projects shovel ready faster. So yeah, we're really proud of all of that.
Not needing to rely on one permitting tool for everything that comes our way, and instead having this full set of restoration permitting tools means it's a lot easier for us to say yes. For a true blue, beneficial ecological restoration project, we really have no reason to say no anymore.
Now that we have different tools, we have to shift the mindset to looking at restoration projects in terms of not what are their impacts, but in terms of what are their benefits.
So now that we're free from those constraints, we actually have the potential to make a real difference. We can usually take a project from concept to construction in about 1.5 years now, whereas previously that would have taken us 5 years. And if it was a really complicated project, it could take us up to 10 years. The California Monitoring Program monitors the number of fish that return to each river. And in the 10-mile river, when that program started in the winter of 2008, 2009, they found 0 fish. And then last winter, the 2023-2024 winter, we had a record-breaking spawning year. Here in the 10-mile river, we had 5,574 fish. There's a steady trend line up right now, which to me is a really strong indicator of progress. We're starting to see populations get to the point where I'm personally shifting my focus away from preventing extinction and towards achieving abundance, which I didn't even think was possible a couple years ago.
The policy and permitting work we do, it's technical, it's detailed, it takes coordination with a lot of different folks. And sometimes it can take a little while to see the results. But when I hear things about the increase in salmon populations that happen here on 10 Mile River, that is music to my ears. I mean, that makes the work gratifying. It brings it to life. It's like that shows us like what we're doing is making a difference.
Given all of the conflict on water, it's fish versus farms, north versus south, urban versus rural, sustainable conservation has been a trusted partner across all of those differences and ultimately a bridge.
Our current regulatory toolbox really isn't possible without partnerships with folks like Sustainable Conservation, who can technically achieve a lot more than government and state agencies can on our own.
Change is not made only by government. We need strong partners, and we need very special leaders and organizations that bring all those partners together and get work done. And really that's what sustainable conservation has been over recent decades.